Hey there, welcome to the garage. If you remember back to the video where I was doing the D-rings using a cutoff wheel to cut 1/4 inch plate, that takes a little while. Cuts a pretty straight line, but it definitely takes a bit. And I made mention that I really would like to have a plasma cutter. So I bought one. So I thought I'd take a few minutes, share with you guys kind of my first experience using a plasma cutter and some of the things that I ran into and the four major lessons that I learned along the way. I started by using some 16 gauge that I had that's extra laying around. Um, and this is where, like, right out of the gate, I learned my first lesson. I was cutting at 40 amps. It'll go all the way up to 50 amps. Um, and I learned my first lesson, and that is travel speed makes a difference. On this super thin material, especially even at 40 amps, I went way too slow. And what that does is it creates a ton of dross on the bottom that's really difficult to get off. It kind of bakes it on there. Using the same material and the same amperage, I just sped up the travel speed, and that really cut a whole lot better. This is where I learned lesson number 2, which is that freehanding a straight line is really hard to do. I know some of you guys have been doing it for a long time. You can do a lot better than I did, but it was a mess. So I decided to try to draw a straight reference line that I could follow. Thought that might help. It didn't. It still didn't cut very good, but it was worth a shot. So I dug around in my scrap bin a little bit and found some other things to cut on. One of them was I got this 1/8 inch plate, cranked the amps up to 50 amps, and I decided to use a guide fence to cut my straight edge on this. And that ended up working a lot better. I got my travel speed right, and I was able to cut a nice straight clean line, and the dross cleaned off super easy. From there, I moved on to, I've got a whole pile of old mower blades, and these are 3/16 of an inch thick. So increase the thickness just a little bit and try. These are notoriously a pain in the neck if you're going to cut them with a cutoff wheel. I use this metal for like random scrap pieces that I need. It just takes a long time with a cutoff wheel, and you burn through a lot. The plasma cutter made super quick work of these. That's definitely where the plasma cutter is starting to shine, is in the thicker metals that are just take too long to cut off with a cutoff wheel. From there, I moved on up to 1/4 inch. Got this 1/4 inch angle. You can see where I've been practicing some welding beads there, some 7018. And this 1/4 inch is really where the plasma started to shine. You can cut this with a cutoff wheel. It takes a long time to cut through it. And that's where, for me, lesson number 3 is the plasma cutter is just safer. Yeah, it's using electricity and you can burn stuff up. You can do that with a cutoff wheel too. The cutoff wheel is throwing metal and stuff everywhere. The discs can explode. I mean, they're just less safe. A plasma cutter, if you're paying attention to what you're doing, I consider it a much safer option for cutting metal where it's appropriate. So lesson number 3, my opinion, plasma is safer than a cutoff wheel. So just for giggles, I decided this is where I was practicing those D-rings on this same 1/4 inch angle iron. I decided to try to see if I could use a plasma cutter to cut one of the hold downs off. That didn't work out so well. So it really needs that smooth, more or less regular surface. It doesn't do well with trying to cut through some old jagged, gnarly weld to cut that off. This would be better suited with, maybe an oxyacetylene torch that would certainly cut through it. Cutoff wheel would be the way to get in there. I think plasma cutter doesn't work there. So lesson number 4 that I learned anyway is plasma cutters are good where they're good. All right, they have their uses. You really need kind of some flat, regular surfaces to cut through. Anything else, you may need to go with oxyacetylene or cutoff wheel or some other option. So a bonus, number 5 lesson that I learned, I guess, is that there is a difference between a pilot arc and a non-pilot arc plasma cutter. The Arc Captain Cut 50 is a non-pilot arc. The contact tip has to touch the metal in order to get started. You can't hover above and start an arc. That's the way I understand it. You guys let me know in the comments if I'm off on that. I do, from what I could read, the Cut 55 Pro, which is a much more expensive machine, it's pilot arc. So kind of more of a professional plasma cutter. This is more, I'd call it a hobbyist DIY weekend warrior kind of thing, which is really what I am. But it's going to work great for me. But there is a difference. So the lesson number 5 for me: pilot arc versus non-pilot arc. Which do you need? Make sure you know what you got. So now that I know how it works, I got to get better at making it do what it needs to do. Interestingly enough, in an upcoming video, this particular cart that I have this sitting on is going to be transformed into something completely different. I'm hoping to take this and turn it into a custom tongue box for my trailer. I think I've got all the stuff that I need, and this was donated to me, so it's free metal. I think I can turn it into a pretty cool storage box for storing straps and stuff like that. I appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. If you don't. That's all good. I just appreciate you hanging out anyway, and I hope this was fun, a little bit informative, and I hope y'all have a great summer, August, fall. Have a great day. See you.